Ejaz Khan. Hello viewers, you are watching To The Point with Ejaz Khan. Today we will introduce you with Honorable Hugh McDermott, member for the Prospect. He is serving his community for 5 years and he was elected second time to be a member of the Prospect for state of New South Wales. So Hugh McDermott, he is a doctor of law. He has completed his PhD in law and he was a barrister, and he has also a lot of interesting things to share about Pakistan with you. Let's talk to Hugh McDermott. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Ejaz. Lovely to be here.
How are you?
I'm really well.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your constituency. What is the geography of your constitution?
It's quite a large area of Western Sydney, and it's probably one of the most diverse multicultural communities in Western Sydney. We have a large percentage of people who have come from northern Iraq and Syria and Iran, who are Assyrian and Armenians. We have a significant number of people from Palestine as well, in Israel. We have a lot of South Sudanese as well in the north, as well as Tamils from Sri Lanka and Tamil Nadu. So, and other members who are from Bangladesh, some from Pakistan, obviously, and other places like that. So very diverse. It's quite wonderful that way. You know, my children's who are 5 and 7, their friends are from all over the world, and it's a wonderful place to live.
That's the beauty of the multiculturalism.
That's right. I mean, it's so interesting when people say, "Oh, multiculturalism doesn't work." You know, you have to divide people. In our community, there is no division. We live well. The good standard of living, and I've never seen any discrimination or racism in my community. You hear from other people outside, but never amongst our own, which is wonderful.
Just for your local viewers, and can you just tell me the suburb where your constituency start and where that ends?
Certainly. Well, it starts in the north, in southern Blacktown, and then it goes into the industrial areas of Huntingwood and Eastern Creek, across into Girraween and Toongabbie and Pendle Hill, down to South Wentworthville and Greystanes, and then into Pemulwuy, then down to Smithfield, Wetherill Park, Fairfield West, Prairie Wood, and Bosley Park. So quite a big area, and we're a diverse area.
Good. Okay. I'm aware of that before you becoming a member of the Parliament, you were in London, you were studying, and you were involved in investigation of the white-collar crimes.
Yes.
And you've been to Pakistan many times.
Okay.
Share something, some of your good experience when you were in Pakistan.
Well, Pakistan, I went over to London to study at King's College, which has a lot of Pakistani students, and I've made many friends there and lived with a few in college and things like that, which was great. And I taught law at King's as well, and then finished my PhD. But during that time, I went to the bar. I became a barrister, a solicitor advocate first, then a barrister. And what happened is that I took on the role as an international advisor for the Law Society of England and Wales.
Very good.
And what is typical of the English, and I'm sure a lot of my Pakistani friends would agree, once they found out I was an Australian, they just thought I knew everything about the Asia Pacific. And they go, "Oh, you must know all about that. So we want you to go to India, we want you to go to Pakistan, we want you to go to all these other countries, Malaysia and Singapore." And of course, I said yes. Why wouldn't you go? I mean, free trips paid by the English. So, all right. So I went across and did a lot of different work in different places. And part of the first time I was in Pakistan, it was about opening up the legal profession in England and Wales for Pakistani lawyers and Pakistani nationals who could then come to England and practice as solicitors or go on to be barristers and advocates. And that was how it began, is that it was international trade work. And I did a similar thing in India as well, across the border. So most of the time I spent was in Karachi. And also while I was there, and in England as well, we have a very big, England and Wales Law Society has a very big regulation arm and law enforcement type arm. And we did quite a bit of work in regards to the relationship in that law enforcement policing type of work, which was really good, which is what I ended up specialising in once I finished my PhD, and worked not only in the UK, in England, but in the Cayman Islands and many other places, and back here in Australia.
Very good. You also played golf golf or polo?
No, polo. I learned to play polo in Pakistan, which was great. So, first time I was in Karachi. My background, I'm an Australian, and Australians like a beer, and my grandparents were Irish, so we like whiskey as well. And of course, I was luckily, I had my Pakistani friends, and rather than just stay at some big hotel, they put me at the Sindh Club, and I was the only Westerner there, and it was a great time. But I said one day, so tell me, what do you guys do at night? I mean, there's no bars, there's no pubs. I mean, what do you do? And there was a police officer who said to me, well, we play polo on the beach against the Afghanis. Would you like to learn? And I said, sure. I said, can you ride a horse? And I said, yes, I can, but not particularly well. I said, we'll teach you. Yeah. So every afternoon, we'd get in the car and we'd drive down to the beach on the beautiful sea there. And there was full of Afghanis who'd come across the border and were kind of having their holidays on the beach, near the water type of thing. And we'd play. They taught me how to play polo, and we'd basically have matches against these guys. Right. So it'd be the Pakistani police and retired police who'd teach me, and then we'd play against them. We never won a game. We never won a match. Right? They were just born on horses.
Because
those guys.
They were very tough people.
Oh, they were tough, and it was funny because you teach me. They taught me how to do it, and then we as the sun started coming down, we're back in the car for security reasons, and off we do back to the Sindh Club where I was staying, and so it was great, and I learned how to play polo. But it was interesting because playing polo in England, where I was living, is very expensive, as it is in Australia. And whilst I was there, they really looked after me, taught me well. They had a bootmaker come out and design a pair of boots for me, and they gave me mallets and everything else.
That's the hospitality.
Oh, they really looked after me. Yeah. It was wonderful. And I was the only Westerner because I was at the British Deputy High Commission and talking to them, and I remember the military attaché, I told him what I'd done that afternoon, which was playing polo on the beach against the Afghanis, and he absolutely panicked. He said, oh, you can't do that, oh, it's not safe. And I said, it seemed pretty safe to me. I was surrounded by police the whole time. And they went, yeah, well, but they were too scared to do it, but I wasn't. It was great.
But it was a general perception that generated through the international media about Pakistan. Yeah. Pakistan is an unsafe place. Yeah. But I think your experience in the heart of that Afghan war, you feel safe in Pakistan.
Well, this is about 2004-05, and the war was still going on in Afghanistan, like it still is. Yeah. But it was like any place in the world. It depends where you go, and if you listen to the locals, if they take their advice, you're going to be fine. Like we went shopping. We go to some of the big shopping markets with my Pakistani friends. We'd buy things and that. Once again, yes, I was probably the only Westerner there, but in some restaurants and things like that. But there wasn't the fear because you knew what to do and you were being sensible about things.
But recently, I think the Sikh, our brother from India, they start going to Pakistan, visiting their people. And they are very happy. They are very impressed with the hospitality of the Pakistanis. So Pakistani, I believe they are very good, and their hospitality is pretty good. But I think due to the war, due to the old geographic situation, always things goes wrong.
Look, of course, and you're right. I think there was that time, and I think one of the times I was there was there was a cricket match between India and Pakistan for the first time in decades. Was it 2005, something like that? I can't remember. And we were all cracking our necks to try and get up there to watch the game, and I didn't get to do that, unfortunately. But I really wanted to. But that was, that showed that we have a lot more in common than we don't. And that was an example, cricket being the main thing, and that on those days. But you're right, the amount of people who are Sikh and others who you see in Pakistan, it's the more dialogue we have between our communities, the better. And we've shown that in my seat of Prospect. We have that open dialogue.
Wonderful. So let's come to the local politics.
Yeah.
I understand the Labour Party is in opposition for now 8 years.
In New South Wales, yes it is, yeah.
And what are the plans to where we are going ahead, and how are you going to achieve the next government?
I think that, you would be lying to yourself if you said in 2011 that the Labor Party shouldn't have lost the election. Yeah. We were in a very bad state. We had corruption issues, and it was a very hard time. And the people of New South Wales, and Australia, they make decisions looking at potential oppositions and whether they'll make a good government, and we needed to learn a lot of lessons. And so we did, and a lot of things changed. I was elected to Parliament in 2015. That was a decent swing, and a lot of new MPs came into the Parliament from the Labor Party. And then this last year we had another election, and we narrowly lost the election. We once again didn't do well at the end, and the people said you aren't ready yet. As simple as that. Now, we see with the present Liberal national government that there's a lot of things, there's job losses in the public sector, there's a lot of infrastructure being built, but maybe not really building on the social infrastructure we need as futures for a community. So this New South Wales Labor really has to deal with that. They have to firstly build discipline amongst ourselves, amongst the MPs, to get out and meet with our communities, continuing the dialogue, and understand that people, especially people from overseas, but also young people, they have aspirations. They want to have a community that is built where their children can go to the schools they would like to go to, that they have secure jobs, that they can afford to pay for their mortgage, they can afford to take their kids on holidays and be safe. And these are important things, and that shouldn't be lost, on us, especially in Western Sydney, but also throughout New South Wales. The aspirations we have as parents, as grandparents and others really, really need to reflect the policies of the government and the opposition. And until New South Wales Labor is in that position where people can look at us and say, well, look, I look at that opposition bench, I look at those shadow ministers, and I would comfortable and I would support them being ministers in a government because they will look after our communities. And that's the key. And we're still not there yet, I don't believe, but we will get there. And we have 3 years to do that.
General perception among the migrants community, especially from the subcontinent, is that they are pro-Labor people because Labor is a more community-oriented political party, as compared to the Liberals. And Liberals tend to be understood by the migrants is that they are pro-business. So that is a big difference. And I think that Labor at the moment is not doing enough to reach to their vote bank from the subcontinent people because they are already your voters, but you need to have a very good connection, strong connection with them.
I think we need to be a strong connection with the voters like you talked about who are new to this country or have been here many years. And I think that's key, and a lot of that base, you want to call it base, is a strong base. We need to know the dialogue. But we also need to win votes. Because there are many people who've come over to this country who are traditional Labor voters, but there's many people who were originally that way as well and have changed their minds. We have lost faith with us, and that has to change. We have to win them back. Business is very important. You're right, the Liberal national government has very much focused on business, but they've left a lot of other people behind. And you could argue that, in a way, Labor has focused on the people who are dispossessed or the people that are in the margins of our community, but not on the business. You need a strong business community to create jobs, right? So everybody can have a job, and I think that's important. I think that the businesses need to make profit, but they need to be in a situation they're not exploiting people. There needs to be that balance, and that's the key for Labor. We need pro-business policies, but also that it will help people to be entrepreneurs and to build, but at the same time not leave people behind. So when they have the aspiration to look after their families, to build their communities, to do well, and be successful, we need to support that. I came from a poor background. I didn't come from a wealthy background, but certainly through my time, and the Labor Party supported so many people in our generation and the generation before me. People like Gough Whitlam, who brought in free university education. Now it costs a lot of money to go to university. It will cost even more now.
And Medicare, you can talk
Medicare,
about.
Other things like that. At the same time, we were promoting international trade, we were opening up markets, we were floating the dollar, we were doing all these things that were so important to make sure the business community could make money and build, but at the same time, working families could also do well.
Wonderful.
And that's what we need to do, New South Wales.
Thank you, McDermott.
Ejaz, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you more.
Viewers, I hope you have enjoyed our discussion, and we will see you next Saturday again with the To The Point Ejaz Khan. Thank you.